I remember my first year, we had several coaches that had left, a couple that hadn't really decided what they wanted to do early in spring. So going into spring, I took on everything I possibly could do because I needed things to get done. And I didn't want to ask somebody on the staff who didn't know if they were going to be there or not to go ahead and do some stuff. So again, I took on all of that, and I continued to do it into the season until a friend of mine sat me down. He said, "You're the head coach. You need to learn to delegate because you're doing way too much before a game and during the week." And I had to sit back and think to myself, he's probably right, because again, I started running around. I remember one Friday night I had an issue with a laptop that does stats, and we're in pregame, and they come down to the field and hand me the laptop and ask me, "Hey, I need you to fix this." And needless to say, I didn't have a very good response to the dads. I had to apologize. But that's kind of the situation that you put yourself in when you don't do a very good job of delegating the things that need to be delegated. And you may ask yourself, well, what is it that you need to delegate? And I didn't know a really good way of handling that as well. What should other coaches do? And a good friend of mine who's into leadership, the first thing he told me is, if it's something that you don't have to do, then delegate it. Or if it's something that only you can do, then you do it. Everything else, try to give away. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It gives coaches buy-in. It gives coaches those opportunities to be a part of the staff and feel like they're contributing, even some of the guys that may be community coaches or younger coaches. So delegation is extremely important. Before I get into it, the other piece of this is you'll want to put together this chart in the off season. And before anything ever happens, before you sit down for your summer, my suggestion is bring your staff in, have a staff meeting that's dedicated to one thing and one thing only, this organizational chart. Use your coaches' experiences, use what they call their talents. What is it that this guy's good at? I've got a guy who's great with paperwork, and that's the person who's charged of the paperwork, and that's what I give him. Why? I know it's going to get done, and he's going to do a great job. So find what they do, find their talents, and utilize them for the best of the program. So let's go ahead and dive in right now and look at this chart piece by piece. As you notice up at the top, we have all the coaches' names listed, okay? And you can see that some people's first chart, that first box, is deeper than others. And a lot of that has to do with the position or coaching responsibilities they have. So that first box that we have is called coaching responsibilities. What is it that each coach is responsible for in their role? So you can see Coach Bishop, head coach, I coach quarterbacks, I coach DL. Some of my other coaching responsibilities are my after-school workouts, and then during the season, which really could go down to administrative, is quarterback grade. So those are the things that I'm responsible for as a coach. And just looking at some of the larger boxes, you'll see Coach Cunningham. Why is his larger? He's the assistant head coach. He's the defensive coordinator. He coaches linebackers. He's in charge of recruiting and academics. He's in charge of the locker room after practices, as well as every other assistant. He has to handle his players' grades and work on the defensive scouting report. Coach Nichols, again, a large box. Why? He's the associate head coach. He's the co-coordinator for the defense, and he handles the back half of our defense. He's our special teams coordinator. He's the liaison between our youth program and middle school and how they work together with the high school. He's in charge of the safeties and cornerbacks. Again, locker room after practice, cleanup, and then defensive scouting reports. Then if you take somebody who maybe is a community coach, their number one job is off campus. And so their roles are much more diminished. You look at Coach Brechter, who does a tremendous job for us. He coaches the defensive tackles. He's in charge of the locker room and player grades. And what's not in there at this moment, Actually, I'm skipping down. His administrative duties is game itinerary, so I kind of jumped there a little bit. So you can see how each coach, where they are on the pecking order, determines a lot of what you see in that first box. That also goes with the second box, administrative duties. And this to me is where you have to sit down and make sure, one, everything is complete in terms of the things you guys have to do as a staff. And two, that you're putting your coach's talents in a place with the things that they're going to do. So let's just look. Administrative duties, the things that I have to do outside of football but are part of football. And again, this goes back to what is it that only I can do, and let's delegate everything else. So football operations, the daily operations football program, I'm that guy. The touchdown club. So when we talk about our boosters, we talk about fundraising, working with our junior program, middle school program. Again, I have teamed up with Coach Nichols, and because I can get help in that area and then also help my other coaches grow, we team up together to have that relationship between those programs. I'm in charge of creating the yearly calendar, the facilities and the maintenance of the facilities, our media. I'm in charge of working with the media, our budget, handling officials in the off season, giving them the schedules and lining up officials. I'm going to be handling our coach and player administration. What is it that I have to do for the kids, and what is it I have to do for the coaches? Administration duties that come from me down to the other levels. I'm the first line of parent contact, and when it comes to overall team discipline, I'm in charge. So again, those are some of the administrative duties, the things that I say that I have to do. Again, let's take a look at some of our other coaches. Another person on our staff, okay, assistant head coach, Coach Cunningham again. He's in charge of our weight room, the programming of it, the data, the weight room needs, and everything that has to go in there. He's in charge of our strength and speed data, our overall strength data, and how that moves from 1 month to the next throughout the whole year and then throughout multiple years. College recruitment. He's our contact between the middle school weight room and our high school weight room. He handles the defensive staff meetings as well as making sure that we have all of our weight room inventory taken care of. I can look at another community coach who we have is Coach Parrish, and he is in charge of our video equipment managers. He's in charge of Echo, making sure it's up to date, as well as our headset. So in the off season, everything gets reconditioned. During the season, he's making sure everything is kept up and that batteries are charged and things like that. We have an equipment room, both a video equipment room as well as our physical football equipment room that he is in charge of. So those are duties that you see, while very, very important, that we can give somebody who maybe is a community coach. So we want to give them a piece of the program as well, and that we're giving them duties and responsibilities that help benefit everybody in itself. All right. For instance, Coach Hudson, we talked about a guy who's great with paperwork. On Saturday mornings, we work with a local cleaner. He goes ahead and he takes all of the uniforms, they bag them up, they take them to the cleaner, he drops them off. He's in charge of all the paperwork, roster updates, our team eligibility. When we're talking about physicals, he handles a lot of that. Bus forms. We start getting our buses and our bus drivers all the way in February, so we can get them lined up. He can have everything taken care of, so that way when we get to the season, the only thing he has to do is take the forms that we have from our county and give them to the bus drivers on Friday night. So it's important. You can look at Coach Crisp, talk about huddle. Coach Crisp is going to take care of our huddle exchange on Friday nights, uploading all the materials, takes care of concussion forms. He helps out in the equipment room. And then I give him the great job of making our soundtracks for Friday nights and pregame. Obviously, everything gets run through me. So just some more things that you want to look at when creating your duties and responsibilities. That's something he had a passion for. So I gave him that opportunity to do it. So I didn't have to do it anymore because I was kind of the one who did it for a long time.